Howdy, and welcome to the virtual table read of P-Hot, or the St. Agnes Fiasco, a short play by Jared Corona. We are in a hospital room. Mr. Lee sits on a bed. Doctor checks his breathing with her stethoscope. All right. Deep breath in and out. Sounds good. Care to take a listen? Unconventional, but okay. Doctor puts the stethoscope in Mr. Lee's ears. She places the end on her chest. Deep breath in and out. Hear anything? I think it's broke. I heard its house was being foreclosed, Jess. Terrible thing. Now, Mr. Lee, it says here you are here today. Two hears so close together should make a royal announcement. Here, Mr. Lee thinks he has manifested superpowers because his pee is hot. Yes. How hot? Hotter than a rich woman who wears her faux fur coat with a faux fox faux fur four-leg scarf everywhere she goes. That sounds pretty hot. Oh, no. My apologies. My wife is a staunch heterosexual. It's dreadful. I know. I hope you can keep it a secret. So then it's not hot at all. It sounds as if your pee is simply terrified of man, and quite frankly, that's a lot of common sense for it to hold. Tell me, do you pee out little kidney stones? With that cold logic, they could be little lumps of ice. No lumps. I had lumps once. Breast cancer. Children, actually. Mr. Lee, it doesn't sound as if you have manifested powers this late in your life. Rather, you have an abundance of imagination. Terrible, really. We'll have to operate right away. It does sound quite serious. You're lucky we caught it in time. Next thing you know, you would have been marginally famous in creating art that stimulates the inner feelings of the human condition. My word. Maybe. Or maybe your paintings. Thankfully, the world will never know. I would so hate marginal fame, as would we all. This is only my opinion, though. Would you look at the time? It's 1:45. What does that have to do with herbs? They're all wilty. They must be scared of you. You are well dressed, and I find that suspicious. You don't look at all as if you might murder me. Well, goodbye, Mr. Lee. The doctor should be with you shortly. Why, I'm of perfectly average height. What a woman. Going around insulting me with that perfect walk out the door. Anyone respectable would fake an uncharacteristic limp in a doctor's office. You don't want to come across as superior just because you're healthy. Nurse enters with a limp. Now that is a respectable fellow. Good morning. I resent that. My apologies. Oh, geez, it's the afternoon, isn't it? Never you mind that. Do you have a stutter? Why, not at all. Why don't you have one? How should I know? I'm sorry, I'm not following. I'm more of a leader. They taught me to be one at doctor's school. You went to school? Of course. I do so hate the educated. As do we all, sir. Unfortunately, this limp of mine prevents me from being uneducated. It always carried me to school when I tried to walk away. Your limp is real? Of course. How fortunate for you. Now, Mr. Lee, it says that the reason you put down for why you're in, your urine is hot. Do stop stuttering. You remind me of my days in speech therapy. My teacher, Mr. Teachner to be precise, would always encourage me when I stuttered through my words. I found such behavior utterly reprehensible. Mr. Lee, I was asked to check that you aren't simply suffering from a sexual disease. I am married to a woman. I can assure you I do not have sex. Because married women withhold sex? Not at all. We prefer to let our mouths do the talking in our relationship. That sounds quite normal. So then you see we don't have traditional sex. I don't see that and would not wish to. There's a surefire way to check it isn't a sexual disease. Here, pee in this cup. I cannot. Why not? I'm thirsty. Very well. Here, drink this. He produces a bottle of water. No, you've discovered my weakness. Water. No, bottles. Bottles? What do they do to you? I have no idea. Then how do you know they're your weakness? My father was weak to the bottle. I assumed it's hereditary. You fool. Your father was a drunk. He drank. But was he a drunk? Has he drank? He has. No, not has drank, was drunk. My grammar is perfectly fine, thank you very much. You're welcome very much. I did tutor you well in high school, at least in grammar. We agreed not to talk about nuclear biology. It's a shame you became a doctor. Oh, I'm not the doctor, I'm the nurse. The woman who was in here earlier, the one with all the time in the world. I doubt that armful was all the time in the world. And that would be a suspicious lack of time. We do all think that there is never enough time, don't we? But it's true, she has all the time in the world. Her company manufactures clocks. Her main profession is to be a doctor, though. She only calls me doctor to make fun of me for those 3 drowned kittens and a box of jelly. Oh, it's an inside joke. Does it become less funny if it's told outside? I suspect it's confessing to a crime if told outside. Oh no, one must never confess. Secrets are best taken to the grave. Doctor comes back in. I quite agree. The only acceptable time to share a secret is whilst gossiping behind someone's back. do it in front of their back and they get quite cross. Why, someone talked about me in front of my face once, and it angered me so that they didn't have the good graces to whisper behind my back and point at me whilst making a cartoonish face, not unlike this one. I have never been so cross in my life. That's not true. I saw you once in a production of an Easter play. I must say, you were very believable as the cross. I played Jesus. You shouldn't trick religious figures. That explains a lot. I thought there was a suspicious lack of Jesus in that play. It didn't quite make sense. Knowing you played him, I understand it a lot better now. Thank you. You're quite welcome. Has he peed in the cup? Not yet, I'm afraid. I've done nothing to scare you. Mr. Lee, frankly, I don't believe you. My first name is Lee, not Frank. Lee is a stupid name. My mother was rather stupid. I believe it was my father's fault. He hit her. Oh. They would dance in the living room, and she would whisper to him that he made her stupid with love. He complained to me about his concerns. It was a good thing I was a licensed therapist. Oh, yes, pissed. Exactly why you're here today. Do pee in this cup. He can't. Why not? He's thirsty. Drink this water. I cannot. Do you have an open relationship with your wife? We close off our emotions from each other. But can you see other people? I'm not blind. No, can you sleep with people who aren't your wife? Oh, yes, we are culture, not boring wooden people. Monogamy is for mahogany, as they say. Wonderful. In that case, doctor, please seduce him. What does that have to do with anything? You're thirsty, yes, Mr. Lee. Of course. There you go. He cannot drink, so by thirst he must mean in need of sexual involvement. Ah, then I should brush my teeth and grab my thesaurus. Why is that? He says they mostly talk with their mouths. Most people do. Nurse leaves. Is this a HIPAA violation? Female hippos have no jurisdiction over the medical field. I never thought they did. Not that male hippos have anything to do with it either. We are quite adamant in our anti-hippo stance. Can you still not pee? I'm still thirsty. Don't worry, the nurse will be back shortly. I told you before, my height is quite average, thank you very much. I don't see why you would be thanking me for your growth. Aren't you confused why I called him the nurse? I'm not sexist, doctor. I know men can be nurses too. So they can. Doctor, I am with question. Congratulations. When is the birth? In approximately 5 seconds. He screams in labor pains for 5 seconds. Have you ever had other cases of people with superpowers? All the time. No, I'm not talking about your plants. Plants? Why are you bringing up my plants? What about other supers? Yes, they come through. Do they stay? Most of them simply crash through the building when thrown by evil, but sometimes they need a flu shot, yes. I believe superheroes will destroy the human race. Quite well. How else would you propose they save the planet? I let the women in my life do the proposing. Oh, I see why your wife doesn't like you. Oh, she doesn't like me. We're in love. Loving Virginia, to be precise. You're inside a court case. It's what we nicknamed the state of Wyoming. Oh, I understand. That is an improvement. Nurse returns in a sexy outfit. Flipping through his thesaurus. Hello, Daddy is here. Greetings, Father is present. Howdy do, your progenitor hath cometh hitherto. What's up, Papa's within reach, slut? Are you still thirsty? You're drinking my water. I was overcome with a sudden dry spell that seems to have shriveled my body into that of a decrepit old woman. Well, I thought that was pleasantly homoerotic. Well, I will give you my number after this. I am afraid I'm still thirsty. What is with everyone being so scared today? You know what's frightening, Mr. Lee? Think about 2 weeks from now. You're at home, alone, in the middle of the day. You hear a squeak. Something thumps near your front door. You grab the nearest 1934 cannon you can find and you reel it out to the hall. There's nothing there but mail. You look through the envelopes. You find a letter from us, from St. Agnes. You open it, expecting to see your medical bill in thousands. Thanks to universal healthcare, though, you look and you find you only owe us $20. No, it's the downfall of capitalism as we know it. Cower in fear at the socialist takeover. What will my children think? You have children? None, but what will they think? Scientifically accurate information. The horror. I believe I'm ready to pee. Very well. Doctor, do take him to pee. Of course, doctor. Thank you, doctor. You're welcome, doctor. This way, Mr. Lee. We'll be there shortly. For the last time, I am not short. Why are you limping? It's the polite thing to do. It's the polite thing to do. I do so hate people who believe they have superpowers. They're so often correct, it angers me. You'd think they would have at least the common decency to not talk about it until they have to suddenly show it off in front of a huge crowd of people. Well, now that he's gone, it seems as if my time is doing better. This time is going to be okay. A commotion. The nurse runs on. We have a problem. What is it? No need to panic, doctor. I believe time is on our side. Doctor checks her sides and finds them devoid of all time. The time is securely in its pods. You feel that heat? I'm not. Yes, we've established that you are eye candy for everyone besides me, it seems. I mean to say that the building is on fire. If you mean to say it, then you better hurry up about it. Time isn't on your side, after all. The building is on fire. Then Mr. Lee does have a superpower. Not quite. The pee is not hot then. No, pee hot. It turns out whenever he goes to pee, he pulls out a tiny flamethrower and lights the bathroom on fire. I don't think he knows the difference. Well, where is he shortly? Long Lee, actually. He's still setting the bathroom on fire, and it's not a superpower at all. No, Doctor. I would have forgiven him if it were a superpower. I know, Doctor. You are a kind person. Very well. We must prepare ourselves for the worst. Are you ready to stop him, Doctor? Yes, Doctor. Do whatever it takes? Yes, Doctor. Are you willing to tear him inside out in a violent and bloody fashion in order to save the rest of our patients, Doctor? Yes, Doctor. Then you have serious problems, Doctor. You should think about seeing a therapist. Mr. Lee is my therapist. Very good. As we're about to go see him. Yes, Doctor. Do you think if plants could talk, my plants would be telling me goodbye right now and wishing me luck? Of course, Doctor. In that case, I'm glad they're mute. I would hate to be saying goodbye after all this time. They exit. End of play. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Jared Corona. I read the stage directions. I'm Jared Corona and I played the nurse. I'm Jared Corona and I was reading the part of Mr. Lee. I'm Jared Corona and I played the doctor.